Chosen one, stop. Put the noise down. This is not the part of your day you were supposed to scroll past. I need you to hear what I'm about to say, not with your ears, with the part of you that has been waiting, the part that has been quietly, stubbornly, almost embarrassingly, still believing. Because here is the truth nobody prepared you for. God did not bring you to this moment because something went wrong. He brought you here because something is finally ready. The urgency you feel right now, that tightening in your chest, that strange sense that stopping here wasn't accidental, that is not panic. That is not manipulation. That is not some algorithm that happened to catch you at the right second. That is a summons. The urgency of a father who has watched you carry something in silence for months, maybe years, something the people closest to you never fully saw, something you stopped explaining because the words kept falling short, something you've been holding so long it started feeling like just who you are now. He sees it, every ounce of it, and he has something to say about it today, right now. This word is for the exhausted believer who still shows up, for the spiritually dry soul who keeps praying into what feels like an empty ceiling, for the one who kept believing without a single piece of visible evidence and secretly wonders if that kind of faith was foolish, and especially for the older believer, the one who has quietly, in the dark, asked the question too vulnerable to speak out loud. Did my greatest season already pass me by? No, it did not. And before this message ends, I am going to show you exactly why. Here is what God is asking you to stay for. Why the silence was not absence. What He is saying over your life right now, 3 specific things, with real weight behind them. And why this moment could not have come one day earlier than it did. Something in you has been preserved, not lost, preserved. The urgency is not because God is angry. The urgency is because the season is finally ready. If something in your spirit already knows this is not random, type 2 words right now. I'm listening. And stay all the way through, because the deepest part of this message is not at the beginning. Before we go any further, I need to teach you one word, one ancient word that will change everything about how you receive what God is saying to you today. The word is Shema. Say it slowly, Shema. It appears in what may be the most sacred sentence ever spoken in all of human history. Deuteronomy 6:4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Most people read that and keep moving. They think it means pay attention, use your ears, sit up straight. But that is not what Shema means, not even close. In ancient Hebrew, Shema means to hear with your whole being, not just your ears, your attention, your intention, the full posture of who you are. It means to turn yourself completely toward the voice that is speaking, to align every part of you in the direction of what is being said. Shema is not passive, it never was. It is an act of total surrender to the sound. Now let me ask you something that might be uncomfortable. How many sermons have you heard in your lifetime? How many Bible verses have passed through your ears? How many Sunday mornings? How many devotionals? How many encouraging words from well-meaning people have landed on the surface of your life and then quietly dissolved by Monday afternoon? If you are honest, the number is staggering, and yet here you are, still searching, still reaching, still feeling like something essential is just slightly out of your grasp. Why? Not because God stopped speaking, not because the word lost its power, but because most of what you received with your ears only, not your whole self. Shema was never about hearing a sermon. Shema was about becoming so still, so turned, so fully oriented toward God, that the word He releases finds no resistance on its way in. Picture this. You are standing in a dark room, completely dark, and somewhere in that room, a voice you love is speaking your name, not calling out, not shouting, speaking, low and deliberate. The way someone speaks when what they are saying matters deeply. What do? You do not stay facing the wall. You turn your whole body toward the sound. You hold your breath. You let everything else go quiet. You become nothing but a receiver. That is Shema. That is what God is asking of you right now. Or think of a sunflower. It does not strain toward the light. It does not force itself to grow in a direction that feels unnatural. It simply turns, slowly, completely, without resistance. And the light does the rest. You are that sunflower, chosen one. And God is the light that has been shining in your direction longer than you realize. The only question is whether you are turned toward Him. Here is the thing that should stop you cold. Many of you have been turned toward everything else, toward the worry, toward the doctor's report, toward the adult children who broke your heart, toward the bank account that tells you one story while God is trying to tell you another, toward the mirror that shows you age while heaven is trying to show you assignment. You have been listening, just not to the right voice, and not with your whole self. Proverbs 4:20 says it plainly. My son, pay attention to what I say. Turn your ear to my words. Turn. That word is not accidental. God is not asking you to add His voice to the noise. He is asking you to turn away from the noise entirely and face Him. And here is the question I know is sitting in some of you right now. If God has been speaking all along, why did it feel like I could not hear Him? Why did so many of my mornings feel like reaching towards silence and finding nothing there? I am going to answer that fully, and when I do, it is going to explain everything. The dry seasons, the unanswered prayers, the feeling that the signal went somewhere you could not follow. But I need you to stay with me, because the answer is not what you expect, and it is going to require everything we are building together right now to fully land. What I need you to understand before we get there is this. God is not asking for your polished self today. He is not waiting for you to have the right words, the right posture, the cleaned-up version of your faith that you present on Sunday mornings. He is asking for your undistracted self, just you, turned, available, quiet enough to receive what has been waiting to reach you. You do not have to be perfect. You have never had to be perfect. You only have to be present. Because the word God is carrying for you in this hour was not written for someone else's life. It was written for yours, for this exact version of you, carrying exactly what you are carrying, in exactly this season, and it is about to land. If you are willing to hear with your whole heart and not just your ears, say it right now. Lord, I am available, because what comes next is the reason you were brought here. And the silence you thought was abandonment, it has a name, and it changes everything. I need to ask you something, and I need you to answer it honestly, not out loud, but in that place inside you where you keep the things you don't say to anyone. How many nights have you lain awake in the dark, staring at the ceiling, and wondered whether God had simply moved on? Not left you in anger, not punished you deliberately, just moved on. The way a river moves past a stone, quietly, without ceremony, without explanation. How many mornings did you get up, make the coffee, open the Bible, whisper the prayer, and feel absolutely nothing come back? How many times did you watch someone else receive the very thing you had been believing God for? A healing, a restoration, a breakthrough, a phone call that changed everything, and you smiled for them, and meant it, and then drove home alone and sat in the driveway because you didn't trust yourself to walk inside yet? If that is you, and I believe it is, then what I am about to say next is the reason you were brought here today. The silence was not punishment. I need you to receive that, not as a nice thought, not as a bumper sticker, as a truth that has the power to rewrite the last several years of your life, if you let it land in the right place. The silence was not God's disinterest. The stillness was not emptiness. The hidden years, the years where nothing seemed to move, nothing seemed to change, nothing seemed to respond to your faithfulness. Those years were not wasted. They were formation. There was a man in Scripture named Moses. By every human measure, His story should have been over at 40. He had position, he had influence. He had access to the most powerful seat on earth. And in one moment it was gone. Not gradually, gone. And for the next 40 years, he disappeared into a wilderness. 40 years. No platform, no prominence, no visible purpose. Just desert and silence and sheep and the slow, grinding ordinary of a life that looked nothing like the calling he once believed he carried. Can you imagine what those mornings felt like? Can you imagine being 80 years old, 80, and wondering whether the version of yourself that once believed God had a plan was simply a younger man's foolishness? And then one morning, an ordinary morning, a bush catches fire, and everything, his entire trajectory, the trajectory of a nation, the trajectory of history, pivots on that single encounter. But here is what the Sunday school version never told you. The burning bush did not come instead of the wilderness. It came after it. The man who could stand before Pharaoh had to first be broken of Pharaoh. The man who could carry a nation had to first learn what it meant to tend something small, quietly, without applause, without an audience, without a single confirmation that any of it mattered. The wilderness was not a detour from Moses' calling. The wilderness was the curriculum. Think about a seed, not as a symbol, as a real, physical thing. You press it into the ground. You cover it with dirt. From the surface, nothing. No movement, no evidence, just covered earth and the silence of something you cannot see. But underneath, in the dark, in the cold, in the invisible, the seed is doing the most important work of its entire existence. The roots are going down. And here is what every farmer understands, that the impatient heart forgets. What grows above the ground will always be proportional to what formed below it. You cannot rush the root system. You cannot applaud it into growing faster. You cannot shame it for not being visible yet. The darkness is not the end of the seed's story. The darkness is the first chapter. And chosen one, I need you to hear this next sentence with everything in you. The season that felt like you were being buried may have been the season you were being rooted. The grief you carried in silence, it was not evidence that God forgot you. It was evidence that something alive was being formed in the dark, in a depth that the easy seasons never could have reached. The unanswered prayers were not returned to heaven unopened. They were seeds pressed into soil. And the God who covered you in that silence was not absent. He was tending something. He refused to let die. But here is the question I want to leave sitting in your spirit as we move forward. If the silence was preparation, and I believe with everything in me that it was, then what exactly was being built in you during all those hidden years? Because the answer to that question is not behind you. It is directly ahead of you. And it is the reason this message could not have come one single day earlier than today. If you have ever mistaken God's silence for his absence, if you have ever sat in that driveway, or that dark room, or that quiet Sunday morning and thought he had simply stopped looking in your direction, write this right now. He was still there. Because he was. He always was. And what he was building in the quiet is about to become visible in a way that will make the waiting finally, completely, make sense. Now I need to ask you something, and I need you to answer it honestly, not out loud, but in that place inside you where you don't perform for anyone. When was the last time you heard God clearly? Not a vague feeling, not something you talked yourself into. A clear, unmistakable, this is real moment, where heaven felt close enough to touch. For some of you, that answer comes quickly. For others, you're searching. Going back further than you expected, further than feels comfortable to admit. And somewhere in that searching, a quiet fear surfaces. What if the signal is gone? I want to answer that fear right now, directly. No softening. The signal is not gone. It was never gone. Heaven did not go quiet. God did not reduce his broadcasting. The throne room did not go dark. The problem was never the voice. The problem was the receiver. Think about a radio, a powerful one, built for distance, built for clarity, designed from the beginning to pick up signals that weaker equipment simply cannot reach. But somewhere along the way, the dial got knocked, not destroyed, not broken beyond repair, just shifted, just enough that what comes through the speaker is static, fragments of something real, interrupted, distorted, almost recognizable but not quite landing. The station is still there, broadcasting clearly, full strength, every single day, but the receiver is off-center. That is you, chosen one. That is what happened to you. And I need you to hear this because nobody sat you down and told you what knocked the dial. Life did. Trauma knocked it. The kind that doesn't announce itself as trauma. It just quietly rewires how safe you feel inside your own spirit. Disappointment knocked it. Specifically, the holy kind, the prayers that seem to dissolve, the promises that seem to expire, the doors that God Himself appeared to close without explanation. Grief knocked it. And grief has a particular cruelty for the older believer because by the time you reach your 60s, 70s, 80s, you have buried people. You have buried dreams. You have buried versions of yourself that you loved. Chronic pressure knocked it. Decades of managing, providing, holding things together, being the strong one in every room, functioning at a high level while something interior was quietly fracturing. And perhaps the most underestimated one of all, performance-based faith knocked it. The version of Christianity that told you connection to God was something you earned through consistency, through not struggling, through having the right answers. So when the struggle came and the answers didn't, you didn't just lose clarity, you lost permission to even admit you'd lost it. Proverbs 13:12 says it plainly. Hope deferred makes the heart sick. Not weak, not faithless, sick, clinically, spiritually, in the deepest tissue of who you are. And here is what decades of carrying all of that produces in a person. You learn to function while fragmented. You become extraordinarily good at appearing stable while running on static. People look at you and see someone who has it together, someone seasoned, someone whose faith has been tested and held. And it has held. Don't misunderstand me, it has held. But holding on and receiving clearly are two entirely different things. And you have been doing the first one for so long that you forgot the second one was ever available to you. So let me show you 5 signs that the frequency was never gone, only distorted. You carry a tiredness that sleep cannot fix. It's not in your muscles. It's behind your eyes, in your chest, in the very act of getting through a day that shouldn't cost this much. That exhaustion is a spirit working overtime to maintain a connection that should flow freely but is being held in resistance. You experience emotional waves that arrive without explanation. A sudden grief with no source. A rush of hope that disappears before you can hold it. A peace that comes through like light, through a crack, and vanishes just as fast. That is not instability. That is your spirit catching real signals between the static. Certain people and environments have started to feel wrong in a way you can't fully articulate. Not because you've become difficult, because something in you is becoming more discerning, more aware of what disrupts the frequency you were built for. Your dreams have changed, heavier, more layered. You wake carrying something you can't translate into daytime language. That is not coincidence. That is the signal running clearest when the noise of survival finally goes quiet. And the confirmations keep finding you. The word that arrives exactly when you needed it. The stranger who says the thing you hadn't spoken out loud. You've called it coincidence. It isn't. The problem was never that heaven stopped speaking. The problem was that pain taught you to live in static. And the most devastating part? You adapted so well that you stopped noticing how much you were missing. But God noticed. He has been watching the whole time, waiting for the exact moment when you would be still enough, open enough, tired enough of the static to finally let the receiver come back to where it was always meant to be. That moment is now. So can the receiver be restored? And if it can, why is God speaking now? After all this time, that answer is coming, and it is going to change the way you understand everything you walked through. If this section just described your actual life, not generally, but specifically, send this to somebody you know who has been calling themselves broken when what they really were was burdened. You stayed. Good. Because what I am about to say is not general encouragement dressed up in spiritual language. These are three specific things. I believe God is speaking directly over your life. Right now, in this season, with the weight of someone who has been watching every single step you took when no one else was in the room. Do not move. Do not skip ahead. Every word of what follows was held for exactly this moment. Message 1. I saw what you carried in secret. Let me ask you something nobody asks. Who saw you when you were faithful and it cost you everything and nobody applauded? Who counted the mornings you got up anyway? The prayers you whispered into what felt like an empty room? The tears that fell on a pillow at 2 inches the morning that you wiped away before anyone could see them? Who kept the record of the years you kept going without a single visible sign that it was working? I will tell you who. God did. There is a ledger in heaven that the world never sees. And on every page of that ledger is written what you did when no audience was present. Every quiet yes, every act of faithfulness that produced nothing visible. Every time you chose to hold on when letting go would have been so much easier. Think about Mary, the mother of Jesus. Before the angel's announcement made sense to anyone, before a single piece of visible evidence existed, before her body showed what was growing inside her, she said yes, in secret, alone, without proof. And heaven witnessed that moment and counted it as the hinge point of human history. Your hidden faithfulness has that same weight. The years nobody applauded, the sacrifice nobody thanked you for, the endurance nobody saw. God saw it, God counted it, every single moment of it. And the first thing he is saying to you right now is simply this: I saw you. Not just the version you showed the world, all of it, the full weight of it, and none of it was invisible to me. Message 2. Your wilderness was not wasted. Now I need you to hear this one slowly, because this is the one most people resist. The season that felt like it was destroying you was actually building you. Not around you, not for you, inside you. There are things that get forged in a wilderness that simply cannot be manufactured in comfort. Comfort gives you rest. The wilderness gives you roots. And what grows above the ground will always be proportional to what went below it. Here is what your wilderness built that nothing else could have given you. It gave you patience that is not naive, the kind that has been tested under real fire and did not break. It gave you discernment, the ability to know the difference between what is genuinely from God and what only sounds like it is. That discernment cannot be taught in a classroom. It is earned in the dark. It gave you spiritual carrying capacity, the ability to hold weight without collapsing, because the assignment God is moving you toward is not light. And he needed someone proven, not perfect, proven. Proverbs 17:3 says it plainly. The crucible is for silver, the furnace is for gold, and God tests the heart. You were not being punished in that season. You were being tested into readiness. What you called isolation, God called incubation. What you called delay, God called development. What you called being forgotten, God called being protected, until the exact moment you could receive what he had prepared without being crushed by the weight of it. The wilderness did not steal your years. The wilderness secured your assignment. Message 3. The direction is changing. This is the one that will require the most courage to receive, because it does not promise that everything becomes easy. I will not say that. That would not be honest, and you deserve honesty. What it does promise is this: something is shifting. Clarity is coming into places that have been thick with fog for years. Doors that were draining you are closing, not because you failed, because you have outgrown them. Connections that were consuming what was meant to feed your purpose are being separated from your path, and doors aligned with your actual assignment are beginning to open. It will feel like the morning light flooding a room when someone finally pulls the curtains all the way back. Not dramatic, not loud, just suddenly, undeniably, beautifully clear. Isaiah 43:19. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? The new thing is not coming, it is already springing. 3 declarations spoken over your life. Right now, I saw it. Every hidden moment of faithfulness, I saw it. I used it. Every painful season, every wilderness morning, I used it. Now I am shifting it. The direction, the doors, the clarity, the season itself. I saw it. I used it. Now I am shifting it. Go to the comments right now and tell me which one landed deepest in your spirit. Type, "He saw me," or "He built me," or "He's shifting me." Because here is what I need you to understand before we go any further. There is something still inside you that may try to resist this shift. Something that has protected you before. Something that looks like wisdom, but may actually be the one thing standing between you and everything God just described. And in the next part of this message, I am going to name it directly. Let me ask you something nobody else has had the courage to ask you directly. Not your pastor, not your family, not the well-meaning friend who keeps telling you to just keep believing. When was the last time you actually let yourself hope? Not performed hope. Not the version you put on for other people. Real hope. The kind that makes you vulnerable. The kind that costs something. Because I think for some of you, and I mean this with everything in me, the hardest part of this season has not been the suffering. The hardest part has been thinking about believing again. You have been here before. You know what it feels like to build expectation brick by brick, prayer by prayer, morning by morning, and then watch it go quiet. You know the specific weight of unanswered. You know what it costs to get back up after that. And so somewhere along the way, without anyone telling you to, without even fully realizing it happened, you made a decision. Not a loud decision, a quiet one, a protective one. You decided to stop standing too close to the window. I hear that voice in you right now. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. It sounds like this. I have hoped before. I have prayed before. I have heard messages before. Messages that moved me. Messages that felt real. Messages I carried home and held on to. And then the silence came back. And I cannot afford to be let down again. I cannot rebuild from zero one more time. I am not 25 years old. I do not have that kind of time left. That voice is not weakness. That voice is a wound wearing armor, and God sees the difference. Think about Thomas, not the Sunday school version, the real man, the one who had walked 3 years with Jesus, who had seen the miracles up close, who had given everything to follow this rabbi from Galilee, and then watched him die. Thomas did not doubt because he was faithless. Thomas doubted because he had already paid the full price of believing, and it had devastated him. When the other disciples said, "He is risen," Thomas did not say, "Prove it," out of arrogance. He said it out of survival. I cannot do that again. I cannot open that door again unless I know it is real. And what did Jesus do? He did not rebuke Thomas. He did not shame him. He walked through the wall and said, "Here, put your hand here. I will meet you exactly where your wound is." Think about Elijah, the prophet who called down fire from heaven, the man who stood alone against 450 false prophets and won. That same man, not long after his greatest victory, was lying under a desert tree begging God to let him die. Not because he was weak, because he was spent. Because the battle had lasted too long, and the reserves were gone, and the loneliness had gotten into his bones. And God did not give Elijah a sermon. God did not give him a command. God gave him bread, water, and said, "The journey is too great for you. Rest. I will deal with the rest. That is who God is, with the exhausted believer. And David, the man after God's own heart, wrote in Psalm 42, what no one talks about enough. He said, "Why are you downcast, O my soul?" He was talking to himself. He was confronting his own discouragement out loud because he knew if he let it run unchallenged, it would make decisions for him. That is not a man who had it all together. That is a man who had been around long enough to know that the soul, left unaddressed, will choose fear every single time. Here is the truth I need you to sit with. Scar tissue is not dead tissue. It is tissue that survived something. It is actually stronger than what was there before. But it is also less flexible. It pulls, it guards, it remembers. Your caution around hope is not evidence that your faith is gone. It is evidence that your faith has been through something real. Grief-trained faith is still faith. Trembling obedience is still obedience. A hand hovering over a doorknob afraid to touch it because the last time you reached for that door it burned you, that hand is still reaching. You are still reaching. The fear you feel around hope is not proof that you are faithless. It is proof that you have survived enough to know hope is expensive, and here is what that means. It means you are not naive. It means you are not performing. It means when you finally open that door, and you will, what walks through it will be the real version of you, not the version trying to impress anyone. The version that has been proven. That is exactly the version God has been waiting for. So, what does God do with a heart that wants to believe but is afraid to? Whisper this to yourself right now, not out loud if you can't, just inside, where it's just you and Him. I am allowed to believe again. Because what He is about to say next, those 3 specific things I promised you, they were written for exactly the version of you sitting in this chair right now. Not a stronger version, not a more prepared version. This one. Let me ask you something that might be the most important question you've heard in years. What if you didn't lose it? What if the calling, the fire, the sensitivity, the deep knowing you used to carry, what if none of that was destroyed? What if it was only covered? Because here is what the enemy has been lying to you about for a very long time. He convinced you that the hard seasons took something from you permanently, that the grief, the betrayal, the silence, the years of unanswered prayers, that all of it hollowed you out and left something diminished, something lesser, something that would need to be completely rebuilt from nothing. That is not what God says. That is not what the Bible says. And deep in the part of you that is still listening right now, that is not what you actually believe either. Do you remember Ezekiel standing in that valley? Bones, dry bones, scattered as far as he could see. And God asked him one of the strangest questions in all of Scripture. Son of man, can these bones live? Not should I build something new here? Not is this worth starting over? Can these bones live? Because the bones were already there. The structure was already there. The identity was already there. It just needed the breath of God to move across it one more time. That valley was not a construction site. It was a resurrection site. And chosen one, so are you. Think about Peter, the man who looked Jesus in the face and said, "I do not know him," 3 times in one night. You would think that would be the end of Peter's story. You would think a failure that complete, that public, that personal, would disqualify everything. But Jesus didn't find a replacement for Peter. He went back to the same shoreline. He cooked breakfast. He asked the same man the same question 3 times. Do you love me? Not, are you someone new? Not, have you rebuilt yourself from scratch? Do you love me? Because what Peter carried was never gone. It went underground, under the weight of shame. But it did not disappear. And Jesus knew exactly where to find it. Think about Job, the man who lost everything in one brutal season: his wealth, his children, his health, his reputation. And in the depth of that loss, even his theology started cracking under the pressure. But when God restored Job, Scripture says He restored twice what Job had before. Not a replacement life. A restoration of the original, multiplied. God does not scrap the original, he redeems it. Think about Paul, blinded on a road. Everything he thought he knew shattered in one moment of light. 3 days of darkness, 3 days of silence. And when sight returned, it wasn't new vision, it was corrected vision. The same eyes, now finally seeing what they were always made to see. You did not lose everything. Not all of you went dark in the hard season. Some of you went quiet, but you did not disappear. The sensitivity that made you feel everything so deeply that is still in you, the discernment that let you read a room before anyone spoke, still there, the calling that kept surfacing no matter how many times life tried to bury it, still alive. The oil that was poured into you before you ever understood what it was, for still sealed inside you, waiting. It is like gold, sitting under ash. The fire didn't destroy it, the fire just covered it. It is like a signal under static. The broadcast never stopped, the receiver just drifted. It is like something precious under a dust cloth in a room that hasn't been opened in years. Walk in, pull the cloth back, it is still there. God is not asking you to become someone else. He is calling back the part of you that pain pushed underground. That is not a small distinction, that is everything. Because if God were building something brand new, the past would be irrelevant. The waiting would be irrelevant. The wilderness would be irrelevant. But if he is restoring, then every single thing you walked through had a purpose. The silence shaped something. The isolation protected something. The long, dry stretch preserved something it couldn't have preserved any other way. The wilderness was not wasted. It was the covering. And now the covering is being lifted. Here is where I need you to stay with me, because this is the part that changes everything. If this restoration is real, and it is, then the question becomes urgent. What must you do before this moment passes? Because a restoration unclaimed is still a restoration. But it doesn't move. It doesn't breathe. It doesn't walk back into your life on its own. There is something required of you. Something specific. Something you can do right now, in this very season. I am going to show you exactly what that is. But first I need you to acknowledge what is already happening inside you. Because something in you is waking back up, right now. As you hear these words, you can feel it. If you know that is true, type it right now. It was covered, not gone. Say it like you mean it, because you do. And stay with me, because where we are going next is where the restoration actually begins. I need to tell you something that society has been lying to you about for decades. The world looked at your hidden years and called them loss. God looked at the same years and called them construction. Every morning you woke up carrying weight nobody named. Every season you endured without applause, without recognition, without a single person pulling you aside and saying, I see what this is costing you. Every night you chose faithfulness over bitterness, trust over collapse, quiet obedience over the loud exit you had every right to take. You called that survival. Heaven called that formation. And what was being formed in you during those years cannot be downloaded. It cannot be fast-tracked. It cannot be handed to someone younger with more energy and a cleaner resume. It was built specifically, deliberately, in the pressure of your specific life, and it belongs to you alone. Let me tell you exactly what those hidden years produced. You carry a steadier spirit now, not because nothing shakes you, but because you have been shaken before and you know what it feels like to come back. You have deeper discernment. You can sense what is real underneath what is only loud. You have less hunger for applause, and that, chosen one, is not emptiness. That is freedom. The person who no longer needs the room to validate them is the most dangerous vessel God can pick up. You have more sensitivity to truth. You can feel misalignment faster than you used to. You have a stronger ability to hold other people in their pain without flinching, because you have sat in your own long enough to stop being afraid of it. You have less fragility, and you have more authority. Not the loud kind, the settled kind, the kind that doesn't need to announce itself, because the room already feels it the moment you walk in. Now let me speak directly to you, not to everyone watching, to you, the one who has been quietly, painfully absorbing a lie that this culture repeats, so casually it sounds like truth. That lie is this: your best days are behind you. I want you to look at what the Bible actually shows us, because Scripture does not agree with that lie. Not even slightly. Anna was in the temple at 84 years old, fasting and praying, and she was the one God positioned to recognize the Messiah the moment he arrived. Not the young, not the celebrated. Anna, decades of hidden faithfulness, and God saved that assignment for her. Caleb was 85 years old when he stood before Joshua and said, "Give me this mountain," the same mountain everyone else was afraid of. And he took it. Moses was 80 when he stood before Pharaoh. 80. The most consequential assignment of his entire life did not begin until he had walked 40 years through a wilderness that looked like failure. Simeon waited his entire life for one moment, and when it arrived, he was the one ready to receive it, because he had been preserved, not wasted. Do you see the pattern? God does not retire his chosen ones, he ripens them. Society calls what you are carrying decline. Heaven calls it ripeness. Young people may have energy, but you have depth. You have roots that go 30 feet down into ground that has been tested. You are not the sapling that bends in every wind. You are the seasoned oak, the one that has stood through ice storms and drought, and the kind of pressure that breaks things not built to last. You are a deep water vessel, built for weight that shallow water could never hold. You are old wine, and anyone who knows anything knows that old wine carries a strength, a complexity, a richness that new wine simply has not had time to develop. You are oil, aged in hidden chambers, and the fragrance that comes from that kind of pressing is not available any other way. You were not being sidelined. You were being strengthened for a weight that could not be given to a shallow vessel. Read that again. Let it land somewhere deeper than your mind. The reason the assignment took this long is not because God forgot you. It is because the assignment required someone who had been proven, someone whose character had been tested under real pressure and had not broken, someone who could carry the weight of what comes next without being destroyed by it. That someone is you, not the younger version of you, not the version with less scars and more certainty. This version, the one sitting here right now, having walked through everything you walked through, and still believing. So here is what I need you to do before this video ends. I need you to open your mouth and say it out loud or type it where someone can see it, because agreement has power and silence has kept this lie alive in you long enough. If you are done agreeing with the story that your season is over, say it boldly: God can still use me. Right now, today. Because what comes next in this message is going to show you not just that he can, but exactly how he is already moving to do it. You have heard the word. Now comes the harder part. Because here is what nobody tells you about a divine moment. Emotion fades by morning. The feeling you carry right now, that warmth, that recognition, that quiet fire in your chest, it has a shelf life. And the enemy knows exactly how long it lasts. Urgent words are not preserved by emotion. They are preserved by response. So I am not going to let you leave this message with only a feeling. I am going to give you 5 things. 5 sacred responses. Not tomorrow, not when the season gets easier, today. The first response is this: clear the noise. Psalm 46:10 does not say try to be still. It says, be ye still. That is a command, not a suggestion. Chosen one, what is consuming your attention right now that God never assigned to you? The endless scroll, the circular conversations that drain you and deposit nothing. The news cycle you cannot change, but cannot stop watching. The static you have been feeding so long it feels like company. You cannot tune a radio dial with the volume at full blast. You cannot hear a whisper in a hurricane. Before God can recalibrate what is inside you, you have to reduce what is competing on the outside. Stillness is not laziness. Stillness is preparation. Protect it like it costs something, because it does. The second response: Stop rehearsing the old interpretation. This one is going to land somewhere specific. You have been calling preparation rejection. You have been calling delay abandonment. You have been calling the wilderness a mistake when God was calling it a classroom. Every time you replay the story of what did not happen, you are speaking the enemy's script out loud. Romans 8:28 says, all things, not the convenient things, not the comfortable things, all of them. That includes the door that closed, the relationship that ended, the year that felt completely wasted. Stop building your theology around your pain, build it around His promise. The third response: name what must close. And this one requires courage. There are relationships in your life right now that are not draining your energy accidentally. They are draining your calling intentionally, not out of malice, but because proximity to the wrong voices at the wrong season costs more than most people are willing to admit. There are obligations on your calendar that have nothing to do with God's assignment for your life. Routines you have been maintaining out of habit that are keeping your spirit dull, keeping the dial exactly where the enemy needs it to stay. Jesus said in Matthew 5:30, if your hand causes you to stumble, cut it off. That is not a suggestion about hands. That is a principle about anything in your life that is costing you more than it is contributing. Name it, not to someone else first. To God, tonight. What needs to close so the right thing can open? The fourth response: return to the small act of obedience you already know. Not the grand gesture, not the dramatic declaration, the small thing. You already know what it is. It has been sitting in the back of your spirit for weeks, maybe months. The call you have not made, the page you have not written, the prayer you stopped because it felt like it was going nowhere, the forgiveness you have been withholding because it feels like surrender, the step forward you keep postponing until conditions improve. Conditions will not improve before the obedience. The obedience is what improves the conditions. A runway does not clear itself. You clear it. And then the plane can land. Take the stone off the well today. Just one stone. That is all God is asking for in this hour. The fifth response, and this is the one that seals everything else: agree with God out loud. Your words are not decoration, they are direction. Proverbs 18:21 says life and death are in the power of the tongue. That means what you declare over yourself today is actively shaping what tomorrow looks like. Stop declaring what your pain told you. Start declaring what heaven is saying. Not because positive thinking is magic, because alignment is real. Because when your mouth and God's word are pointing in the same direction, something shifts in the atmosphere around your life that cannot shift any other way. Say it out loud, right now, wherever you are: I am not finished. I am being prepared. What felt like burial was planting. And what was planted is about to break ground, now. Before we close this message, with one final declaration that I believe will live in your spirit long after today, I want to ask you something direct. What is the one step, just one, that you are going to take today in response to what God spoke to you in this hour? Type it in the comments. Not for me, for you. Because what gets named gets done, and what gets declared gets momentum. And if this word found you in the right hour, if something in this message recognized you before you recognized yourself, stay connected here. There are people God is waking up through these messages. And chosen one, you are not meant to walk this season alone. Chosen one, stay with me. Because what I am about to say is the reason you were brought here today. Not to the beginning of this message, not to the middle of it, to this moment, right here, right now. You were not forgotten. I need you to let that land somewhere deeper than your mind. Let it reach the place that stopped believing it years ago, the place that learned to go quiet about certain hopes because hoping out loud started costing too much. You were not forgotten. The silence you lived through was not God turning away. It was God turning something in you toward what was coming. Every morning you reached and felt nothing. Reach back. He was there. Every night you prayed into what felt like a sealed ceiling. He was listening. Every year that felt like it was falling behind some invisible schedule. He was building. Jeremiah 29:11. He knew the plans, not past tense, new, present, always. The hidden years were not wasted years. They were working years, underground years. The kind of years a seed lives through before anyone standing above the soil sees a single sign of life. But something was happening, something that could not have happened any faster, something that required exactly the pressure, exactly the quiet, exactly the darkness you walked through. What was covered is being restored. Now let me ask you something direct, something that may be the most important question you hear today. What if the thing you called the death of your strength was actually the birth of your true hearing? What if the moment you finally ran out of your own noise was the moment you became capable of receiving something that required the quiet to reach you? The signal was never dead. The frequency never left. The dial only drifted. And God, with the patience of someone who never once panicked about the timeline, has been waiting for this exact season to bring it back. This was not the day God finally noticed you. This was the day you finally understood what He had been doing all along. And I need to speak now to the older believer, the one who has carried decades of faith, decades of service, decades of showing up, and has quietly, privately, in the honest dark of 3 a.m, wondered whether the best was behind them. Your age is not your disqualification. It is your credential. Moses was 80 years old when the burning bush appeared. 80. And God looked at everything that man had walked through, the palace, the desert, the obscurity, the silence, and said, Now you are ready. Now the vessel can hold what I am about to pour. Your years did not disqualify you. Your years prepared you. The direction is shifting, and you are allowed to believe that. You are allowed to receive that without apologizing for it, without qualifying it, without waiting for someone else to confirm it first. You are allowed to believe again. Father, we come to the end of this word the way a long storm finally gives way to morning, not with noise, with stillness, with that deep, settling exhale of a soul that has finally been told the truth about what it survived. Father, speak now into every exhausted heart under the sound of this prayer, the one who has been strong for everyone else and has no idea who is being strong for them. Let them feel you, right now, not tomorrow, now. Speak into every grieving heart, the one carrying a loss that didn't come with an explanation, the one who buried a dream, a person, a version of themselves they thought they needed to become. Let them know nothing you authorized is permanently gone. Speak into every older believer who feels overlooked, who sat in a pew for 40 years and wonders if heaven even remembers their name. Tell them what you told me to tell them. I have never once looked away. Break every agreement with abandonment right now, every lie that said the silence meant rejection, every whisper that said the delay meant denial, every voice that said the season passed and left them behind. We renounce the lie of wasted years. We receive restored clarity. We receive courage, not the loud kind, the deep kind, the kind that takes the next step even when the whole staircase isn't visible yet. Bless their minds, bless their memory, bless their bodies that have carried more than anyone knows. Bless their children, bless the generations connected to their obedience. Bless the rooms they will walk into this week, carrying something they don't yet have words for, but that every spiritually awake person in the room will feel the moment they arrive. Make them alert, make them peaceful, make them ready, because what comes next requires exactly the person they have become. In the name that is above every name, Amen. Chosen one, the silence is broken, and what begins now is greater than anything that came before it. If this message spoke directly to your season, comment right now. The silence is broken. Share this with the person who has been carrying too much in secret. They need to know the silence has a name, and they are not walking through it alone. And stay close, because this is not the end of the word. This is the beginning of your next season.